Hey friends, it's Jess and Jericho, and the first aid that I really like to use at home, really simple, there are no side effects, and there are actually a lot of studies that talk about it. There are a lot of studies using this for skin issues and inflammation, and even healing wounds post-elective surgery. It can reduce inflammation, as I mentioned, and it can promote skin tissue healing. And I use it for myself and I use it for Jericho for acute issues like fresh wounds, something that just happened. It's really, really beneficial, and I've used it, like I said, for myself and for Jericho. For chronic issues, I'm still waiting on results because these things take years to develop, so they're going to take longer to heal. So what I like to use is red light therapy. Now, light is measured in nanometers, and depending on that nanometer is going to affect how deep the light travels, basically, when you're using it on yourself. So the nanometers in the 600 range, those are actually within the visible light spectrum, so we can see those lights, and those are for more superficial, like skin issues. But then when you get into the 800s, 900s, and 1000s, those ones actually travel much deeper into the tissue. That is the near infrared spectrum, and that's actually right outside of visible light. So we can't see that light. So this is the device that I use. It's called NovaLab, and it has lights around the outside. These ones are 650 nanometers. So those are within visible light. You can see those lights. And then the four that are in the middle here is 808. So that's near infrared. You can't see those. I'm not gonna turn it on because I don't wanna blind you. But basically you will see the lights on the outside, but you won't see the lights on the inside. And for this one, this is the Pro Extra Strength. So I bought this back in November. The previous red light that I was using has a nanometer that I discovered I didn't want to use anymore, and I actually did a scriptural light study with sunlight and red light. So if you want to understand why and are interested in that, I'll put the video in the description. But so I found this one because I found a study among cats with stomatitis, which is inflammation in the mouth. And I feel like that's what Jericho has. He has a lot of gum inflammation. And so the study uses 808 nanometers. And this was the only device that I could find that uses 808 that isn't for professional veterinary use. You know, it like comes with a huge machine that you have to plug in. So this was the only one that was and they're like thousands of dollars. This was the only one that was handheld that was more affordable. And you can only use all of the lights all at the same time. You can't use one or the other. There's also a timer, so you can do 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The cats with stomatitis study used the 808 nanometers on 2 different groups of cats. And the only difference really was the dosage time. And I believe actually the speed at which, because it was flashing light, but basically the cats that only had a dosage time of 4 seconds on each point, they did basically like a little triangle around here. The ones that had 4 seconds had really great results. The inflammation went down completely. And then the other group, I think their dosage time was 10 seconds. They actually found that the inflammation got a little bit worse. So I think that with the red light therapy, it's great because there are no side effects and it's helpful, but also less is more. So you don't even have to use it a lot. So with Jericho, he also has otitis externa, which is outer ear inflammation. And so this is good for inflammation. Originally, I was doing 4 seconds because that's what the study proved. And I didn't really see that great results yet. I mean, it's been a couple of months, so of course. But with that study, it was a few weeks. I think it was only 10 sessions, two sessions a week for 10 sessions total. So that would be 5 weeks. The other thing is in that study, the cats had their teeth removed prior. So, I mean, Jericho has his teeth, it's just that they're inflamed. It is helping his ears. I'm still waiting on the inflammation in his mouth. But like I said, for acute stuff, fresh wounds, it works really well. So Jericho scratched me one day while we were playing, and I get red light right on it right away. So the first day, it's pretty red and open. By day day one, basically like 24 hours later, the cut is like already closing up. The next day, it's like closed and also pretty much all healed. And today, like I don't even have a scar. So it's really great for fresh wounds because you can get it on there and it'll start healing the tissue immediately. Whereas, like I said, with chronic issues, these things take years to develop, so it's going to take longer to heal. But I also use this on Jericho if he ends up scratching his face or something. If he's scratching and he gets a cut on his chin, I'll put it on there. It heals it up very, very quickly. No ointments, no prescription, you know, just put the red light on there and it clears it up very fast. And same thing, sometimes like he'll scratch his eye by accident and then it'll bother him and it'll be red. Obviously, don't point light into your cat's eye or your eyes. But what I do is close his eye over and then put the red light kind of near the eye and it clears it up right away. It's really, really great. Very, very convenient. So I really like this as a first aid for sure. Like I said, I'm still waiting on the chronic issues and I am using it for myself as well for other issues. Actually, this past week, I had some congestion in my nose, lots of runniness. My throat was sore as well. So I used the red light therapy on it. Took some herbs, got lots of sleep, done in a week. No big pharma needed. So I just used the red light therapy because it's good for inflammation. So it helps a lot. And I really, really enjoy having this at home because it's super convenient to have. So I get a cut or something and then I use, boom, put it right on there and it heals so much quicker. So since I did see great results with it, I joined their affiliate program. So you can use my code JESSCATICLES to save 10% on your first order. So I think that's great and I really like using it for myself and for Jericho. And I'll put links to those studies and the packets and stuff in the description. You know, I use it for myself personally and for Jericho, but I'm not a veterinarian, so I can't really give you advice on how to use it, but there are a lot of veterinarians that are now using red light therapy in their practice. So, you know, maybe you can find one of those and kind of get some guidance when you buy your own device. Some veterinarians even have red light therapy devices that you can rent from them. It's going to be way more expensive than buying your own device, but that's an option. So check the description for my code, JESSCATICLES, to save 10% on your first order. And again, I'll put that scriptural sunlight and red light therapy study in the description. The video is really fascinating. The study is fascinating. There's a lot of healing that we get from the sun, and the sun emits infrared light when it's at certain angles, and it's higher in the morning and at night, and it regulates our internal biological clock and our circadian rhythm. It's just fascinating. So definitely check out the study if you're interested. It's in the description below. I also wanted to talk about some carnivore diet results for me and for Jericho. So Jericho has been eating what I would say is a proper carnivore diet for cats since maybe like late 2022. And he's been on 100% raw since 2018. But by proper carnivore cat diet, I mean chewing on whole prey, chewing on raw meaty bones, chunks of meat and organs, minimal supplements, so really whole foods. Previously, he was eating ground meat, bones, and organs and a supplement premix. So it was definitely a step up from commercial cat food. But I think the ideal and ultimate proper carnivore diet for them is, you know, what they would eat outside, which is whole prey. I started the carnivore diet, the human version of the carnivore diet, 3 months ago. So it's been 3 months for me, only eating animal products, and I've seen really good results. With Jericho, the best result that I've seen, chewing on whole prey, chewing on raw meaty bones, is that it's cleaning his teeth. So on the left side, he does not have any inflammation, so he's able to chew on his left side. He had some plaque and tartar, comes right off with the chicken bones specifically. I didn't see as great results with whole prey quail because quail are very small, so their bones are not as hard as chicken wings and chicken necks because chicken's much larger, so he's gonna have bigger bones. So I saw much better results once I started feeding chicken wings and chicken necks. The plaque and tartar just came right off. On his right side, he does have inflammation, so he avoids chewing on that side, so I'm still working on that. But Chewing on that stuff is really great, not only for the teeth benefits, but also the mental stimulation. So we have sedentary cats that live indoors, and we can play with them and provide them with enrichment like cat trees and comfy little beds for them to nestle up in and feel safe and warm and cuddly. But of course, it's also important for them to chew on stuff because that sends a lot of positive signals in the brain and then also works the face muscles. So it's overall mental stimulation and enrichment when they're actually chewing on whole prey and raw meaty bones. So it's more than just the nutritional benefits of calcium and phosphorus and the fat from the wings, the skin, but it's also this mental stimulation and enrichment and teeth cleaning benefits. My favorite part about my carnivore diet results after 3 months, actually I got this result like immediately. And sorry to my brothers out there that probably don't want to hear about this, but sisters, you will definitely appreciate this. Pain-free periods. Absolutely no pains whatsoever. It's amazing. So the first thing that I did when I was introduced to this diet was I started adding butter. And then the week after I got my period, no pains. So literally just adding more fat to my diet helped. And then, so I'm just ending my 4th cycle since I started carnivore. So right before I started carnivore, I had it, and then it's been 3 months, so I've had 3 more. And previously, I was eating very plant-based heavy diet. A little bit of meat, but it was lean meat and 2 eggs a day. So, but I was eating lots of variety, like 5 to 6 different vegetables. I would rotate the vegetables that I ate every week, rotate the nuts and seeds that I ate every week, and the fruit as well, dried fruit, fresh fruit. I mainly bought from the farmer's market what was local and what was in season. Maybe a few things at the grocery store, obviously nuts and seeds, can't get those locally. But for the most part, it was a lot of what I thought was healthy variety. And I would overeat, I would binge, and then I just felt like a glutton, and I would end up ordering food, and then that's where I would go down and get stuff that my body doesn't react well to, carbs, breads, stuff like that. Pizza, flatbread, oh my gosh. That really messed up my periods. So I went from like 8 or 9 days, spotting before, spotting after, and very, very painful to the point where I couldn't do anything. I just had to force myself to go to sleep. So it was really bad. I would lose a day of work, lose a day that I could be spending at the park, lose a day that I could be doing things for Jericho, like can't even get up to play with him, like super, super painful. PCOS, endometriosis, PMS, you name it, I had that kind of pain. But now, even like the just adding butter, no pains, and then every month since then, it just gets better and better. So no pains, absolutely no pains. And from 8 or 9 days down to 5 days. So no spotting before, no spotting after, much shorter in duration. So, I mean, that's my favorite benefit of the carnivore diet so far. I mean, even just immediately right away, just from adding butter alone, it's crazy. So another carnivore diet result that I like with Jericho is just the fact that I'm feeding much more variety and relying less on synthetic supplements. So Jericho's diet consists of whole chunks of meat, raw meaty bone, and chunks of organs and whole prey. And really I just supplement with kelp for iodine, and he has a fresh catgrass plant. He nibbles on that whenever he needs it. I think more for the digestive help. And the feathers from the whole prey quail and chicks also help with that digestive aid. The next benefit that I've noticed with my own carnivore diet is that I'm not binging and I'm not overeating. I also haven't ordered food in over 3 months. So I'm also saving money. I'm saving time because I'm not blending and preparing and cutting and washing and sauteing this and roasting that. It's funny because a lot of people might think like, oh, that's so boring. All you eat is meat, butter, and eggs. But I have so much more time back to do other things. And meat, butter, and eggs is delicious. I eat beef, butter, and eggs, and it's delicious. And I think what's boring is like I was saying before with the period pains, like literally I had to stay in bed. I was either in bed or in the bathroom, and that horrible feeling of feeling like you have to come out this end and the other end is awful. There's no boring compared to how bad that pain is and how uncomfortable that is. Just these results is. And the other thing also is with the overeating and binging, like I would stand in the kitchen and eat half a jar of peanut butter, half a jar of coconut butter, half a jar of almond butter. I would make raw granola out of pistachios, dried dates, what else? Millet, coconut flakes, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, blend it all up, and it was supposed to last me 7 days. I would eat it up in 2 or 3. And then I would feel guilty afterwards. But now, and I also used to eat like 5, 6 times a day. And then on top of that, if I would order food and I would eat super late, like right before I went to bed, now I eat twice a day. That's it. It's so much more freeing when, I'll be honest, you're eating for nutrition and not for taste. Because previously I was eating for, well, I thought that I was eating for nutrition, but then I would veer off and eat for taste and I would overindulge. And then I would get the painful periods and then I would feel weak and just guilty and I would feel like a glutton. And I just feel so much better now that I've gone down and just feel much more satiated and I don't overeat. I don't have cravings at all. Oh my gosh, when I was eating bread, I would eat like 6 slices of bread a day. Forget about it. And it's just so much better on this diet because I don't have those cravings anymore and I get to eat as much butter as I want. But the good thing is, like, you don't overeat though, because you feel full and then I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done with food. Whereas previously I would eat an entire bowl of vegetables, some meat, and then on top of that still want to eat, and then on top of that order food, and I would order ribs or something like that. Like my body knew exactly what I needed. So it's just that big difference of having that better relationship with food and not feeling drawn to it and not feeling like a pull to it, basically. I'm not thinking about food all the time. I'm not like, what am I gonna eat next? I used to eat while I'm eating and then I'm thinking, what's my next meal gonna be? That's awful. And so it's really freeing and I don't think that it's boring at all because these benefits completely outweigh it's going to be boring eating only this, and this, but I really don't think it's boring at all. It's been 3 months and I'm not sick of it. I do kind of branch out and eat tongue, which is nice. And I'm going to branch out and eat other things like sardines because they're so nutrient dense, but I'm just sticking with clean animals and butter and eggs. Now, another benefit for Jericho's carnivore diet is better bathroom habits. So a lot of people will say on kibble and canned food that their cat's poop reeks. And I've experienced this when I was working as a cat sitter. I would go to the client's apartment and I walk in and the smell just smacks you in the face. Oh my gosh, it was awful. But Jericho's poops, they're easy to pass, they're small, they're well formed, and they don't stink. It's like he'll go to the bathroom and you know it because you hear him going, but you don't smell it, which is amazing. And it's just so much easier to clean up, and his litter box is just so nice and easy to clean up, and it's just such a great benefit. And that just means that he's digesting his food and there's little waste that's coming from it. Now, my carnivore results in the bathroom aren't as perfect, so I'm still kind of fine-tuning that. My issue is, and this is the case with pretty much everyone, is the hot liquid fat. So after I cook the meat, even if I use the slotted spoon and try to, not include basically a soup of hot fat, but sometimes if I cook eggs with ghee, that's hot, and then so that hot liquid fat basically just goes right through you. That's why it's better to eat it cold. So when I eat cold butter, completely fine. When I eat cold beef the next day, like I cook at night, eat it the next day, completely fine. But whenever I eat the hot liquid fat is when I have the problems. The time when I did have perfect bowel movements, I'll say to be nice, was when I was eating ground beef, egg yolks, and beef tongue. So what I did was boiled and simmered it, peeled the skin off, and then sliced it and fried it in ghee. Nice and crispy, love it. So that's all right with me if I gotta eat more tongue, but I just have to figure out. I did also experiment last month, month 2, of eliminating egg whites and just doing egg yolks, because a lot of people, nutritionists, dietitianists, and doctors say that a lot of people are allergic to eggs and don't realize it, and the egg whites can cause inflammation. So I just eliminated that to see if that would help. Month 1, I ate way too much cheese, and my BMs were the opposite of what's happening now. But so I'm still fine tuning, but again, the pros absolutely outweigh those minimal cons, because it's not like I had perfect, what's that Bristol stool chart? It's not like I had perfect Bristol stool chart poops when I was eating a bunch of plants, very far from it. So it's not much of a difference with that. It's not like I went from perfect to not perfect. So I really like it, and I'm going to continue on it. Like I said, it's been 3 months, and what I plan to do is incorporate more sardines and also incorporate more tongue because I like it. I might try lamb tongue instead of beef tongue, because the beef tongue is huge. It's massive. That one beef tongue could last me an entire week. Whereas if I do a couple lamb tongues here and there, like that would be like every other day, or like a couple times a week, instead of having it every day, every week. I also want to do liver and stuff like that. So if you have recipes, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. And you can check out this video right over to see my carnivore diet versus Jericho's carnivore diet, to see what we eat in a day. Thanks for watching.